Oh, I need some intro music. I started without intro. Wait, we're going to put on some intro music. Let's do what one? I am a professional.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
John! 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 Hey, everyone, and welcome to a Sunday night. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to all of you who have a mother. And happy Mother's Day to all of you who was born by a mother. And Sleuthie Goosie, welcome to my channel with a little technical delays, but we hope it'll hold up.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. And I just have to thank you, Brandon. You have missed me since yesterday. We share tent and share chew, sucked his chicken, but just us two. Don't call it gay, don't call it weird. Just what bros do with a couple of beers. Thank you on this lovely Mother's Day poem, Brandon.
Oh, dear.
Brandon is special.
It's a good comment.
Hmm.
I'm glad we said chicken.
Well, I've learned a bit about Brandon.
I can't.
Sleuthie,
I just don't
I haven't.
anymore.
Last week, my guest sadly had to.
Oh no, we're on a lag.
Don't beep anymore.
No, I said don't play
Oh,
Jen
shit.
anymore.
Well, I might do that. Oh no, I need something to ask you. So, what got you interested in this case?
So Bob, Defense Diaries Bob, wanted me to stop with Coburger for a little while. And so he had me go to Delphi, obviously, everybody knows that. And then he sent me this, and he just sent me, and I was so confused. He sent me the ring footage of her backing out of the driveway, and then just the photos of John's arm. And I was like, I'm confused. I was like, it looks like his arm was scratched like by a dog, and I don't know what the footage is supposed to be. And he's like, well, they said that she backed up into her boyfriend and killed him. And I'm like looking at this footage, and I'm like, what are we talking? Is he in the car? Is he inside the car? And she hits him, and then the dog inside the car freaks out and then starts scratching at him or something. And he was like, no. So then I had to look, and I was like trying to make sense of it. And it seemed pretty clear to me that whatever it is that they were trying to say about him being hit by a car was not true. And so then I started with the timeline and reading all of the court filings. And I don't like when things don't make sense, and I kind of get stuck on them when they don't. And so I think overall that's what happened to me. But then I started reading Turtle Boy's stuff and started adding to the things that made it make much more less sense. And now here we are at a second trial, and I'm hoping this is the last one because I can't do another one.
No, tomorrow will be day 14 out of what I thought would be a 12-week case. Mm-hmm. I think they might rest from the state next week. Mm-hmm. I am very confused talking about timelines. I'm very confused. We've been 13 days in court. We haven't talked about the murder yet.
Yeah. Which
in a murder case, drop it in there.
Take it or leave it, yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny because I was watching Vices one day and I saw that arm, mm-hmm. and I said to Jamie, we gotta look at this because this is just weird.
Yeah.
This car, mm-hmm. and nothing in this case. I've been doing this for 14 years in Denmark, sitting in courtrooms, looking at evidence. Mm-hmm. I have never heard an expert from Cellbrite say Cellbrite isn't a real tool. You need a free version of my very downloaded, 70-something people have downloaded his program to interpret Cellbrite.
Yeah.
I still can't figure out how big that tail light was that chewed up half his arm, because I'm a little bit shorter than John. So it would be a very big tail light that has to do it. and no one who sees it could believe that this is from a tail light. And I can understand that Krusty and Plevin, because hey, grift is grift, and we do the same. But I just don't understand how people can come into it right now, and they can have. Plevin has 700 people watching him, and
You're kidding.
no, it's Caffey Daffy has like 30. She called Kate called my co-host a fan of the Austrian painter the other day because he went in and said something in her chat. Why are they all so mean?
I do not know. It's poisonous. It makes you look really old, in case they didn't know, when you're that mean and hateful all the time.
Yeah, and again, it's okay that you don't like me or you don't like Aiden, don't like Karen, but look at the evidence presented in case. If you want justice for John, you wanted something better. Did anyone put together a timeline of all the taillight pictures? I don't think anyone has done that yet.
No, not by when they were found, but I know there is a picture floating around of like who found what portions of the taillight. Like it just so happens that Buchanan found one whole piece in multiple pieces, and then Proctor found another part of the taillight all in multiple pieces. But as far as when they were found, I don't think so. I think the most important part about all that is the fact that they weren't found when everybody was kneeling around John in 3 inches of snow, and when they were blowing with the leaf blower for however long he was doing that. He didn't find any then. So
no, and I've shared that picture where they kind of points this. The first piece that's found is this big, and from the middle, right where it would be if, I know the car hardly moved, but if she hit the truck, that could have broken this middle piece, where there's also a piece they never found.
missing. Yeah.
Yeah. But then the next piece they find is this big. And it's a guy who's as blind as a bat. And 11 days later, they find 6 inches by 5 inches pieces of tail light. No one who sees this would say this is a good police investigation.
Yeah.
Again, you can think Karen is guilty, that she hated John, they were fighting, she hated kids, she wanted to go with Brian Higgins, but you can't say this was a good investigation.
They try.
In my opinion. Yeah, but that's the thing.
Well, it's the problem is what happens if we say that it's not, right? If we say that it's not a good investigation and it's really terrible, then it might just be that this person gets off when we know that they did it. But my issue is when an investigation is done so poorly, how do you know this is the right person? Like, how can you trust at all that this is the right person? And to be honest, we should not be okay with investigations like this. Anybody that's sticking up for it is really, I mean, I have to question. That's true. Teresa, telling the truth. Because I'm 70. How old am I? 76? 76 or 73 currently.
Well, I'm 27.
I'm older than that, but I'm not 73.
No, it's apparently I am a fat Lego man. I get new nicknames every day, but it's just and again, you can argue with me. I tried having Plevin on and just talk about his shitty book.
Oh, I know.
I read that shit.
It was hard to watch. I'm just telling you, it was very difficult to watch. You handled it very well.
Well, I can tell you, if you tried to read his book, I'm not sure you would be streaming ever again, because you would be on a watch list, because nothing adds up. And he's just sitting there like he always does. It's the truth. It's the truth. Why are you afraid of the truth? Well, you should have written the short bus a little more to school. Just then do some super chats. Stacey LaBruno, good afternoon, Baker and Sleuthie Goosie. Happy Mother's Day, all. Thank you, Stacey. And thank you, Baker, for letting us smile during this bizarre trial. Free Karen Reed. Yeah, I was lucky I found those video clips from when Brian Higgins was trying to hook up. And thank you, Micah, for becoming a new member.
So what about Higgins trying to hook up?
Oh, I found his dating videos. You know, the old video VHS dating tapes.
No, you didn't.
I did.
I don't even think I can handle it. I don't think the cringe is so bad for me that I don't even know that I can handle. I cannot believe we sat there and listened. But I have to say, I really did prefer Buchanan reading all those than I did to when Higgins was reading them. But they were still cringy.
It's always cringy when you hear especially because he has less game than I have, and I've been single for a very long time. But he's just sitting there. If she slapped him with a shovel in the head saying, "I want you now, get naked," he would still sit there and say, I would have used a spade instead of a shovel. Why did you do that? It doesn't make sense.
He'd be like, what are we going to be after that, though? What will happen after I do that?
He was so clingy.
Oh, it was so bad. It really hit a peak at some point, and then I think everybody was like, this is getting a little bit, like, she hung in there much longer than I did.
I had to take my monitors out because I just can't. I get that secondhand embarrassment.
Me too.
Yeah, that's not good.
Oh no. How do we know these are old?
It looks old.
Well, I could see Higgins doing this in 2025. Why can't I hear it?
Doesn't it share the audio? Ah, fuck it. Well, forget about it. I just had too much time yesterday. They are on my YouTube channel for anyone who wants to laugh at my poorly parted hair. Imagine that back in the boy band era, I did have a middle part.
He has that perma part. He has like the perma shaved part, the perma part.
Why are all these? And let's get back to the trial instead of my stupid things. What do you think about them taking Yuri Bukaki and do everything through him?
For the most part, I think it's fine. But when it comes to like his text messages, I think that it would be important for them to hear those coming from his own mouth. For me, it was. And his seeming lack of empathy or regret for having done it. I mean, you could say these are regrettable, whatever he said, whatever he stumbled off, everyone said these are regrettable, unprofessional, blah, blah, blah. He did all that, but you could tell he like didn't care. I mean, just didn't care at all what he had said. So I think they have to have him read them.
I think it was really good to have him read the part about looking for nudes and all of that, because it builds to was this an honorable, and he never said it was an honorable investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you believe in it, just say it. Say, we followed every lead. Every lead pointed directly to Karen Reed. We listened to the witnesses. We used all the available techniques we know and use, and nothing pointed to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But he couldn't even say that. He was just, I believe anyone who puts a piece of paper in front of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I also think having him read those couple ones that he was in the group chat for kind of shows that it wasn't just like one bad apple, right? Proctor's not the only issue, because you all listen to him speak this way. And I'm sure it's worse than that they've heard throughout their time with him. And so it's like, well, you're the supervisor, you're ahead of him. He must feel comfortable acting the way that he does. He feels comfortable speaking to you or in front of you the way that he does. So how much, integrity is there really in the unit as a whole?
And again, do men in groups like that talk bad? Yeah. Do women? Yeah. But there's a difference. They carry a badge and a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And they should be kind of like we always say about America. You're the shiny city on the hill because you are the one the Western world wants to be like.
Mm-hmm.
But so should cops. Cops should be the best of us because we give them all the power to do whatever they want to us, to take away
Right.
our freedom.
Exactly.
And this just shows that this is the thing I hate about this case is, one, they didn't care enough about a fallen brother in blue
Mm-hmm.
to even look at the case.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, you have a DA's office who's actively trying to hurt this woman just to win a case.
Yep.
The DA is not there to win. They are there to find justice.
Mm-hmm.
And it really annoys the hell out of me. And David C., thank you for the super chat. No text, but thank you anyway.
And even worse, it's difficult to wrap your head around the fact that they did someone in law enforcement who died. They did him this way. It's like, how are you treating regular people that but then I guess, well, these people in particular do handle people that die, but it's just so strange that you would think they would go above and beyond and use up all the resources, not like, I mean, they basically went and talked to 3 people all at the same house and decided that was good enough. Nobody even knows where John's body was. That's I have a huge problem with that.
No one knows where John's body was. You can't get anyone who was there that morning to go put a finger in the ground and say, here.
Exactly.
I don't know if you noticed, they are shifting where he is.
Oh,
they want him up by the fire hydrant.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because they fucked up and had that piece of of glass at the fire hydrant. And
Trooper Paul got surprised by that last year, right?
Yeah.
Because Jackson was like, okay, so if you're saying the debris field or whatever, did you know that there was one way over here by the fire hydrant? Well, debris is not going to fly with the car. It's going to go backwards. And so he's like, would you change then your accident reconstruction? He of course said no, but okay. He also did a whole reconstruction without knowing how tall or how much John O'Keefe weighed. So I do think that probably the new people that we'll hear from Aperture, they probably did take into account all the way to the fire hydrant. Because if you notice, they're also putting them past the fire hydrant. Like Jen would mention her being like basically on the other property line. And then Gallagher made a comment about, well, and it was very quick. And then there was a objection, but Gallagher said something about that Kelleher thought that it was at 32 Fairview. So I think you're right that they're moving it up, but it just irks me that we have no clue where John's body was. I don't know how they're doing reconstructions without knowing that. Exactly.
No, and that's, I don't know if you took a look at that Dr. Turk case from the same jurisdiction that was the week before. I was covering it. A doctor who unalived his girlfriend, wife.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, Cellbrite worked 100%.
Mm-hmm.
GPS coordinates didn't work because they were pinging her phone and she was in a pond and the phone was in a house.
Mm-hmm.
And the most beautiful thing was how to take pictures on a crime scene, because they had the establishing shot. Then they had, okay, here you can see all the little cones. This is cone number 1. This is what's at cone number 1.
Yeah.
And so you could constantly see, okay, it's on there's a big stair in a hallway. Oh, it's on the stair. Right. It's on step 4 where cone 2 is, and that's the murder weapon. So
like
you
you're
can follow
walking
it
into the scene.
And Helene, he couldn't read all the text from Proctor because he wasn't in the group chats with the worst of them. What I find is the worst of them. Those were to his buddies, and that makes it even worse because had it been locker room talk at the police station saying, yeah, she's kind of hot if you like them crazy, then you could say, well, Well, some places haven't really moved out of the 80s, but we're all growing.
Mhm.
But this one, he went out of house and talked to his friends from high school or college or whatever it is. And
Mhm.
to me, that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
And that's why I want him. I want him there to have to say the words, even though they're not that nice.
Me too. Like when he tried to spell the C word and the judge was like, no, these are your words. You have to say them. And then he did. And like I said, it meant a lot to me that I was hearing him and he clearly did not care. Like he had no remorse for saying those things at all. And I think that if you want to grasp the severity of the things that he's saying, he never did apologize to Karen. He didn't have a single thing to say to her. And when they asked him how he felt about David Dianetti, he said, I still don't like him very much. Like he did not regret it at all. And I think that the jury should know that because he's not repenting. And it wasn't just a moment of frustration. Like he tried to say that he was upset because he had just found a fellow officer. And it's like, sir, you never even saw him. You never saw him there. Well, you saw him in the hospital, but like you didn't walk upon a fallen officer that had been like shot 100 times. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think if they don't call him even just for that, I think they're losing. I think they're losing out. And I absolutely think they should.
The defense will call him. They need him to show how bad, because that's goes to the Bowden defense, how bad and how biased they were in the investigation. But your take on Hanky Panky contra or compared to Lally?
I think in terms of his case, he's doing a better job. I find him extremely aggravating for different reasons than why I can't stand Lally. But one of the things he's done right, if we're going to say, is not having Nicole, Brian, Julie, Colin, all the people come in and everybody say, we didn't see him. We didn't see him. He didn't come in the house. All you have is Jen. And in my opinion, she didn't walk out of there looking very great or trustworthy. So if she's the only one I have telling me he didn't go in, I'm not sure that I'm buying that. Do you know what I mean?
I think I have to say, I think AJ, I don't know if because he has a Leslie on board this time, I think he's way better handling the hard wit. I didn't like his Wednesday performance where Jen got to yell, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. But he has really changed, because normally he would get angry and kind of act like Hank does when someone doesn't say the thing he wants. But I really like the way he's shifted. And I actually like when Lally comes up, because that voice of Hanky, oh my God.
Neither of them are good at all. But I have a hard time paying attention to Lally. It's to the point where I can predict what Lally's going to say. Like we were laughing the other day because like he was asking the lady about the alcohol testing, and I forget what he was talking about central nervous system depressant. And I said, is alcohol a central nervous system depressant? And sure enough, like as it's coming out of my mouth, it's coming out of Lally. It's like, can we please move on? I think we all know, like, just please move on. But Hank, one thing for sure that I want to see from Hank is how he's going to do on cross-examination, because if how he was when he last spoke to Dr. Wolf is his kind of baseline at cross-examination, which I can't imagine that it is, but I won't be surprised if it is. I think that's going to turn the jury off big time.
I think you're right, and I said it when he had Dr. Roslon. The way he threw that book in front of her is one of those, you will remember those forever.
Yeah,
because that's so disrespectful.
Yes.
And if he does it in front of a jury, I know it's a defense attorney, but he's not a defense attorney. I talked to Andrea Burkhardt about that, and she said, "Well, it's just the style of some lawyers. I don't like it, and I'm a juror, And I think a lot of the good things about this YouTube, we have Kurt here, who's a lawyer. We have Andrea Burkhardt. We have Brother Counsel. We have a lot of lawyers out there. And I think one of the good things they might pick up from us is we really don't go for all of those theatrics. We find it annoying. We find it disrespectful to our intelligence. Asking what if any high tops are in the picture. There's two.
Over and over.
You can see them.
Yes.
That's why I think actually that LawTube community, they teach us a lot, but I hope they'll listen to us as well when we say, come on now.
Yeah.
Don't be like that. And
I also think it's helped to have that juror on too. Like the things that you didn't really much like about Jackson before he might have spoken to that juror who was helping them from the last trial. And she might have said, nobody liked that. You need to tone it down. Yeah.
And I just want to answer the question. I think both of us expect Proctor to be called, not by the state, but by the defense. Another thing I noticed, I don't know if it's, some people say it was after Dr. Wolf mentioned the DOJ. I think it's been a little more, but Bev has changed the last week. She's kind of become more, I won't say she's become friendly because I've never met a lady who needed a couple of White Claws and a good lay, but that woman does.
I think the first time I ever saw her be human was when she, like the rest of the world watching the trial, when Buchanan said, do you want me to start from the beginning? And we all like lurched at our computers like, no, at the same time. And she did as well. Like that was the most human I've ever seen her.
Yeah.
The entire time.
But that's just not enough. Again, this is why I don't like the American system with your lifetime appointed judges and politics and stuff like that. We don't have that. Probably have a lot of other problems with our system, but I really dislike that. There's nothing you can do when she's so clearly biased. Why can't her colleagues come in and say, girl, we've been watching you?
I don't know. It's been very horrifying, especially like with Judge Gull, which Bev is what she is, but she's not Judge Gull. And when that whole thing was happening and there was literally nothing anyone could do and no one could step in and do it, I'm like, how is this? This cannot be the only way, because we're all supposed to just stand around and watch someone get railroaded for a judge that, first of all, and then when you talk about Bev, she wasn't even supposed to be on this case anymore. Like, I still don't even understand how she's still on this case. She was supposed to be gone long ago. That's what they do. They rotate.
Yeah.
And somehow she was there for the first trial and then she's still here now. Maybe she's tired of it too. Maybe she's just ready to never hear about this ever again. Maybe that's why she's starting to act a little normal.
But I actually think hearing that the DOJ was following the first case closely might have jarred some little, I better play this a little closer to the West instead of just saying, you want to object, Mr. Nally? Like she did in the first trial. But I also think Hanky is really stretching her, what do you say, he's wearing her thin because he's constantly doing all of these dirty tricks. But I still, you saw it with Alessi's last motion. Yeah, you're gonna win it, so sit down.
Yeah.
And she still has this hate bone. I think she doesn't like successful people. I actually think that's the big. But it's the same. I think a lot of people hate Karen Reed because she's a successful woman.
Yeah.
And most of those people are women, because nothing hates a successful woman as much as other women. And I think that's why all these couch dwellers are just sitting there. Oh, she's so ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
By the way, Twisted Tragedies has just updated her Amazon wish list. If anyone wants to go support her, because instead of doing other things than update her Amazon wish list, she's been in bed all day, not looking for a job. Poor thing.
I have no comment.
No. Well, I can say whatever I want. I'm an idiot.
You sure can.
Yeah. None of this is supported by Sluthie. She is now going to go buy that no, not Jello. What's the weird thing you put in water? The one you drink when you're in a cult.
I don't know.
Help me out, Chad. What is it? No, the one you put in. You put it in water when you're gonna unalive everyone in your cult.
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid. Thank you so much. She wants a bag of Kool-Aid. If anyone wants to support.
You're not serious. Is that on her list?
Yeah, it costs $7 or something like that.
Oh my word.
Maybe Valhalla should go over and give her a super chat, and she can call him a Yahtzee too. Red Sox asks, I'm interested in the neurosurgery testimony because I understand that testimony. Having brain surgery myself, you learn the lingo fast, plus ongoing brain issues. Oh, I'm so sorry for your ongoing issues. But that's another thing. Did you catch that? Had an injury to his head 2 days before.
Yeah, I don't know what that is about.
You've read everything, seen everything. I just dig in where I need it. Have you seen anything about that?
I do not remember that. But one thing I will say is that, and of course we haven't heard from the medical people yet, and I'm also interested in hearing from neurosurgery, but you can have a brain bleed. You can injure your skull and you can have a brain bleed. And I know this because I've seen it. You can have a brain bleed for days before you end up in the hospital because something is actually wrong. Usually it's people that are around you notice you're like cognitively not normal, or you have a headache and you're saying weird stuff. So technically, if that were true, it wouldn't be that difficult for me to think that maybe that's something that actually did happen. And maybe he was, because we do know he was drinking a lot, right? We read all the text messages from last time between him and Karen. And at one point at like 3 o'clock, he's like, I'm only like just now sober. Like he was basically still drunk from the day before. And then he drank some more. That can make it difficult to figure out if someone's really drunk or if maybe they have something going on with their brains. But I know that the purpose of that, which is really a shitty thing to do, but he knows it's not on camera, is suggest that she said that because she maybe knew that he had hit his head and she was trying to make an excuse for that before.
But he also claimed that he told them at her parents' house that she hit him.
Yeah.
And this is totally made up new information again. It's everyone heard it now.
Yeah.
But no one put it in any report.
I want to know how
can he have a job?
How's nothing recorded?
Yeah, and how does he have a job still? Because he lies so much.
Imagine yourself, you talk to these people and you're like, okay, we're going to go tow her car because we think that she might have hit him with her car. And you call the police ahead of time and you say, we think that this vehicle was involved in a homicide. We're coming to pick it up. And you show up and it's got a busted taillight and you're like, hey, Proctor, you get within 3 feet of it and look at it a little closer, see if it is broken. He's like, okay, yeah. And he's like looking at it and nobody's like, maybe we should take the phone out of our pocket we used to call the police and take some photos of this car.
No,
so
it's
that
just,
no one could say we didn't.
And that's the problem to me. But he just makes up new stories in front of the jury.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cheesy. And Sebastian Müller wants to kill me. Take a shot each time Hank makes an objection. I would be so drunk that I couldn't even drive in Canton if I did that.
I do think he objects much more than Lally. I also think that he gets on these paths where he'll object over and over and over and over and over again. And I don't think he knows why. And I think it has to look bad to the jury. Where Lally just kind of let them do whatever.
Yeah, but I also think he's smarter than Lally because there's objections, and then there are the oh fuck, my case is going really bad objections. Mm-hmm. And I think he's using those a little bit. I was actually yelling Friday, object, because AJ was on a roll, and he should have objected just to cast him off. He did it a little bit later with his objection sidebar, and you could just hear he was just, we need to get out of this. And then I think that's the thing I've noticed AJ has become better at.
Yeah.
Because he got flustered the last time. He got angry. He got fighty. And all of them have been prepared to get angry, get fighty. So they can just sit. And Bukaki with his small little, I hate his smile. But when he came back, instead of being angry, instead of trying to yell at him, he just, okay, we were here. And he just went straight back to it. And I really like the change in the defense team this time. And I think Alessi, what a godsend. Because kind of like you, he has that analytical brain where he will go home and read a book and learn everything about the subject. So he can ask you a good question.
Yeah. You can see him writing. I mean, he writes while other people are up and testifying. And I think him and Miss Little both just said she knows where everything is. And I think he's one that's like, I remember reading, like at some point there was some kind of somebody said something and she can pull it up real fast. I mean, they are a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. And sorry, I missed some member chats. Science and physics don't lie. John O'Keefe was not hit by a car. I agree, Disney nerd. And MLS making law simple. Or Brandon, I ain't gay, it's the truth, bent over for the proof. You're in a rhyming mood today. And Vince Clothel, thank you for giving Hot for the Hillside a membership. What do you think will be, who do you think they're going to call now? We're going to get the Emmy, we're going to get the Crash, Not Daddies. Are we going to go into more tech? Because then I will delete myself.
I think.
Oh, Ring.
Well, I know they said that, but I don't know that they're going to do that. I think they're going to do Aperture. I think they're going to do the guy from Miami or whatever. That's the brain guy. And I think the last two witnesses, and I've been saying this, is going to be the kids. And I think he's going to end with the kids.
I don't think he's going to call Crosby. Now he can't say it's closed. It's not closed teeth marks.
Yeah, I think he's not even going to do that. I don't think enough. The defense hasn't put much attention on that yet, but we did end with like finding out the Chloe Cora thing. So maybe they still will, but I just don't think it's necessary now. If for rebuttal, maybe, because he doesn't know what they're going to do on their case in chief, but I don't think that it's going to be necessary for him. And I think he's going to go emotion wise. Yeah. He's going to put the kids on and let it, like how everybody gets all upset when they say that they can't believe that they're going to call the kids, period. It's going to be that again. It's going to be the last thing he does.
Probably, or yeah, no, Paul before him, maybe to talk about how hard it has been to take up the slack.
Yeah, maybe that too.
And not talk about how hard it was for him not to stay faithful while the trial was on. What? How does prosecution handle med examiner saying no homicide? They're not going to call the medical examiner for the state side. They have hired a new one who will probably say what they want. I can't remember the name of the new ME.
I do not remember the name, but I do know that me as a juror, if you do not bring in the only person that physically touched John O'Keefe's body and saw it in real life, I'm going to really have to wonder why. Is it Wolf?
No, Wolf is the big jawed guy.
No, there's two Wolves. And there's three Wolves because I think Wolf is the one that sits at Tiny Table too.
Yeah, he's the Habsburg jaw.
Yeah.
We actually made a thing where him and Bri Jr.'s friend with the big lower part of her, they should have kids together. They would have an amazing jawline.
They could try.
Well, I'm not sure anyone in Bri-Bri's house is having kids, if you know what I mean.
They said Wolf is the neurologist, but So do they have a neurologist and not another medical exam? Maybe that's what we're confused. Are we sure that they have another medical examiner? I know the defense does.
You I don't do homework. I just look at your notes and then I play smart.
I can't think of, I don't think they have like I think they have to call. There's no way they can't call Squirty Bello. I would be like, it just doesn't seem like that big a deal to just totally avoid her. But at the same time, she was really good for the defense because she made it clear that when she said blunt force trauma, she meant it could be from anything, not necessarily a car.
Yeah, and Squirty Bello, even though she was a weirdo, she was likable, and I really, even though I thought she was underdressed for court, the tattoo lady, I thought she was a really good witness.
Yeah, I did too.
Carla, thank you for gifting a membership to Mattia Braga. Do you think the defense will use Officer Barrows to go over proper police procedures since Easter was ruled out?
Sorry, I don't let him on camera. My bad. What am I looking at?
You do what you need to do.
We'll take monkeys.
I think they will have to try and get other officers in there and ask them, but who, I am not sure. Sorry, I'm so far behind. Brennan loves drama. Ooch, Frenchie's mom, he does, but he's a defense lawyer and they like drama. The problem is he's a prosecutor in this case. And I'm going to jump to the end because I don't see. Please put that red question mark if you can. It makes it easier for me to spot. There's 900 people watching right now, so it makes it a little bit easier to spot if you have good questions. Yeah, she takes take all the breaks for kids. That's okay. I'm so dumb. I'm probably going to move just to get near to my grandkid.
You're gonna what?
I'm probably going to move to get nearer to my grandkid.
That's not dumb. We moved.
That's a lot of money.
He and I moved 2 hours, like 2 hours closer to. I mean, we're still like 4 hours away, but we built a house and moved just so we could be a little closer to my mom.
Yeah, it's we're the best.
She comes a lot.
Sluthie, the best. She brings the facts. Yeah, and it's really nice of you to put it out there and open. But I think it's really important that we have facts because I got some people a little hot under the collar the other day because I said it doesn't matter with all these facts. The jury's not going to see them. It happened. All of it is how does the gut feel of the jury when they're done.
Yeah.
But I think it had made all of us aware how bad it has become. Because even on Law and Crime, who's always 89 to 95%, the Commonwealth is always right. Their polls aren't looking good. Court TV is running full court pressure right now to try and do the, hey, she's clearly guilty. All their commentators out there. Did you see the one with when she was rubbing her eye? Oh, she was giving him the finger.
Yeah.
No, because he sits up there and she was doing this.
It wasn't even anywhere. It wasn't pointed at him in any way. And people were putting like screenshots of when Hank has done it, when Bev has done it. Like sometimes, so like if I'm going to like wipe something out of my eye, I will use my middle finger. But she, of course, all her fingers were down. They focused too much on her. Like we can't even watch. I sort of like the idea of the split screen where you could see her and her attorneys and then the witness on the other side, but then like we couldn't use it because I couldn't see the exhibits. I'm too blind. So I was like, we're not gonna be able to do this. It's not worth it to me just to be able to see her. But when they do that, then you have people focused on her nonstop the entire day. They're like not even paying attention to the witnesses.
And that's a big problem. I hate it because the amount of people who will say, oh, she looks like she's guilty.
Oh, yeah.
How do you look guilty? Well, I saw one body language expert once said, if you do this, that means you killed 25 people. No, it means that I'm bored to tears. I've been listening to a guy talk about a cell phone. I don't get anything, and I have a cramp in my eye.
Yeah.
But
Or
everything
just
can be
a resting
screenshotted.
face. Like some of us just have faces that aren't very approachable. She sits there and she just looks the way she looks. That is her face. She can't change her face.
No, and I think it's very prejudicial that, especially when idiots like Doink and them can sit there and say, "Oh, look at her now! Look at her now! She's yeah." You don't know
It's
what
just her face.
she's been through. Maybe she was at Taco Bell yesterday.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Possible.
Baker, have you seen any of BM Trouble 31's videos? I have, and everyone should go look at them. They are really well made.
What are they?
And please, Pep, you haven't seen them?
Are they? Is that the taillight person or no?
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen those. Yes.
Really, really informative because it's not flashy. He doesn't. The production value isn't as high as Microdots or anything, but it's so simple. Everyone understands what he does.
Yeah, I think he bought like a fake arm that has bones in it, and he was showing them what happens if it hits a taillight. You know, I think it's good. I just I don't know. You know, the more that I think about it, let's say the jury keeps. Let's say the only thing they say that they believe is that the cocktail glass was found, right? And they have that in their minds because they're like, okay, all of the taillight is just bullshit because we don't trust Proctor or any of them, let's say. I always wondered if when she said I hit him, well, I personally think when she was saying like I hit him, I've always envisioned it as like when she finds him in the snow and she's like smacking him in the face, trying to get him to wake up because she just found him and he's unconscious. But let's say she threw something at him, whatever, when she was leaving and then she pulled off. I wonder if they're going to consider whether maybe it was the cocktail glass. But you have to think, we know that ARCA is going to come in and say, we did an experiment where we pretended to be an average male with throwing speed of whatever and throw a rocks glass at that taillight. And it basically equaled the same amount of damage. Are they going to be able to say, okay, well, if that's what happened and that broke her taillight, what happened to him then? Did he trip over the curb as he was throwing it and then he fell backwards and she didn't know and she just kept driving? Whose fault is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I still hold, let me just say, thank you, please, Pastor Pepper. I still hold that I think they will try, as the last trial, and find some OUI or OWI, whatever they call it in that state. That's what they go. I don't think that there's no way they can reach murder 2 because the facts are not there. But there will be people who said she did drink. Yeah, but she did drink. And then they can do all these. Well, maybe she tossed a glass. When I hear that she stopped at 12:23 point something, and then moved up, and left around 12:30.
Yeah,
I've been in those situations. I'm very Danish. If I say 5 o'clock, you better be here no later than 5 minutes before. If you're here 3 minutes before, I'm already left because you're late. Because nope, we don't do that. 10 minutes early is 5 minutes too late. That's how I've been raised. So if you said, hey, on the way over there, your disease is beginning to act up and you had a little too much to drink and you get the funny gut, and you say, John, I know they invited us and that's nice of them, but I really don't feel good. And I don't really know them and I don't want to use their bathroom.
Yeah.
Can you run in and say, yeah, sure, but don't stay in there. Don't stay for another drink. I really need to go home.
Yeah.
And then she waits for almost 10 minutes and thinks, fuck this asshole. And starts calling him and say, you are such a big piece of shit. To me, if you have that set up in your head that he runs up to the door just to say, hey, everyone, give them a hug and we're leaving. She waits for 5 minutes, nothing happens, and then, well, fuck this asshole. I could see that as the only explanation if I was sitting there.
Yeah, I would too.
Gerda says, what do you think are the chances that Proctor will come out with all the truth?
0.
He might plead the fifth, but he will never spill the beans unless he has a deal with the feds. Will we see Higgins in a change of clothes at CPD? I noticed he asked about what clothes he was wearing. We haven't seen the video.
If he changed his clothes, that's really going to be really suspicious to me.
Wouldn't that have leaked out?
I don't know. I didn't know that Jen called Nicole at 5:07. Did you? I didn't until this trial.
No.
So maybe we don't know. But that's going to be really suspicious to me if I hear he changed his clothes.
Singafungo, any thoughts on the Snowbank comment given when there was only snow enough to track a cat?
Yeah.
It's a lie.
Absolutely.
And apparently the jury was writing notes and smiling.
Good.
So
I think that meteorologist guy saying track a cat, like getting that stuck in everyone's head that there was only enough to track a cat, not lose a cat, just you'd be able to still track one because you could still see its paw prints. I think that was really good for the defense because when that came out about the snowbank, everybody knows we're talking about 2 completely different amounts of snow, and it is a lie. I don't know if they'll be able to piece together why he would lie. Oh, that's the other thing. I also think they shouldn't see Higgins, the jury. I think if they don't see him and they don't allow him to talk and explain things, then they're better off that way.
Yeah, I could agree with you on that one because he doesn't, other than he did the rhino dance but the change of clothes, it's an interesting theory. Yeah. If that drops Monday, we can understand why we were talking about it before we went live. Tom is saying you don't want to miss tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, as I said, it's kind of like when a girl says, hey, you want to come home with me and sleep, and then you end up on the couch. Sometimes it's a big build-up and a slow payoff.
That might be it. I missed that. Like, I guess I hadn't even thought about that. I'm noticed more that Higgins be employed at that time. Yeah. That was the part I hooked on to because is he implying that Higgins has been fired? Well, he was put on desk duty. Remember at the last trial, he was not like active in the field anymore.
No, but that's still different than at that time, working at that time, because even if you're riding a desk, you're still an ATF agent.
Mm-hmm.
When did Tully know the car was at Canton PD? Search guy saying Tully saying vehicle in transport.
So, well, they'd have to ask Tully. Like they would have to ask Tully that. But I find it hard to believe that Tully would be at the scene and not know that the car was about to be either about to be or was at the police department.
Yeah. This is what I thought. She hit it when I found him. I'm so far behind on chat. I'm so sorry, chat. But we get into talks. Where are the other 3 sources of glass they found from? It wasn't John's. No one knows and no one looked into it. And that's, again, why this is a bad investigation.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to believe that this glass is very damning, but the other glass, don't think about it. Then you have the I loved it the first trial when they pulled up that I don't know if it's a cover to a takeaway box or whatever.
Oh, for God's sake. They did it again this time. I have no clue what it is. And they don't tell you either. They just show it like it's supposed to be taillight. It looks like a Chinese food, like you got what is that soup? It's the only soup they have at the Chinese place, and I love it. Yes, it looks like a lid to a wonton soup container. They got ran over, and they're like, "Look at this piece of tail light."
Yeah, because the first time I thought they would say it was the parabola that's inside old tail lights or in the front light headlights, but that they don't have those in the tail lights that's the same size. So I was like, "What?" And then they just put it back in the back and
it's
moved
literally
on.
Trash. They just picked up trash.
Can we recap the changes in testimony and timelines thus far?
That would take a long time.
Oh, we would have that should be someone should do a fundraiser 12-hour stream and they should just go through it and say everything has changed. We now know there was a phone call that we didn't know in the first trial.
Mhm.
They changed when the third team started. They changed when the third team arrived. They
Mhm.
changed when Karen leaves. She leaves either at least in the last trial. Lally changed the timeline 3 times.
Yeah.
In this trial, they have changed the timeline 2 times at 12:31:38 and 58 and 12:32:30. When is he closing his
Like
phone?
his last movement is after the time that they say, or the last time he interacts with his phone is now after. And see, we wouldn't know that if the defense did not ask, was your data used by Aperture to determine when he was hit by a car, right? If he had not asked that, we would not know that 12:31 whatever is the time that they're saying that he was hit by the car. And so I almost wonder what's going to happen. Do you think they know, the Aperture people, that he was like using his Face ID and locking his phone after the time that they said that he got hit by a car? Do you think they know that?
If he asked that question, I don't think so, because he has read the report. Well, unless he have read the report, and Dr. Wolf has read the report, and they found that problem. But it's the same with the blood test. The blood test said it happened at 12:45. So they haven't even cleared that up since the last trial. They haven't told the new lady who didn't do anything new. It's just the same numbers.
Yeah.
They haven't even changed the timeline. Brandon asked, how old are all these Muppets jurors again? What are the odds that they follow the rules versus judging on what they want them to be? The rumor is it's a pretty young jury. But what is young? I'm 27. I feel old, but
I would say like not retired, maybe.
But everyone is saying it's a younger jury, so they should understand all the technical stuff. So, and as someone who might be close to retirement age, at least halfway there, tech moves fast. But the jury will always rule on how they think the law is. No matter how they read it, they will rule on their gut feeling. That's why it's so important that I think for the state, if they want to win this, Hank cannot be Hank. On
Be someone else, or let Lally do it. Maybe, I don't know.
Thought it was 2030s mostly, then 30-40. I don't think I've seen a breakdown, because in the beginning there was this: can we tell? Can we not tell?
Right.
About them. And Nurse Kim said the juries are youngish, 50 tops. I think that's a good thing for them.
Yeah.
So she had to get to John's house in around 4 minutes. I saw someone do the drive, and it took almost 7. And that's in perfect conditions. Remember, there was a blizzard.
Right. And also, they don't have. I mean, is it just not a little strange that they don't have any footage of her driving back to his house? Now, you can argue that she deleted the Ring camera footage, which is just not true. But she can't delete like library footage, the church footage. Like where's that footage capturing her leaving in the morning? Where's that for on the way home?
Well, you know that guy who came in and said he had changed the cameras. They couldn't find it on the server. It disappeared. But
the stuff that's missing is convenient for a limited number of people, and so it makes it really difficult to just explain away why these things don't work.
But also, you have now I saw this. They filed to have the Ring guy come in next week, potentially, and you want to have him. And we know this from, was it DiCicco or Guarino who testified about this in the first trial? There are no evidence provided to Ring or from Ring that says videos were deleted.
Right.
And Ring have said there's only one unit attached to the Ring account, and that's his phone.
Yep.
So why would the state ever call the ring expert to testify she couldn't have done it.
If anything's deleted, it could only have come from whoever had access to his phone. And that's not great for the state.
No.
You know what I mean? If they say the only person that could have done it was whoever had access to John's phone, well, the only people that had access to John's phone is somebody. We don't know. You could tell me it was Carrie. I don't believe that. And I don't think she found it under his body and then immediately gave it to a first responder. But then the only other people that had it after that is police. So.
Yeah. Oh, and that timeline changed as well.
Yeah.
Now he got it in the morning, and the last time he got it at 10 o'clock in the night.
They don't know. And that I have to wonder, how do you not know? How do you not know? Like, we know everybody that was on the scene that day, don't we? So how does nobody know who Carrie handed the phone to? Everyone testified it wasn't them. So I'm just not understanding. And my whole theory got blown up the other day when they gave the exact time that she called her sister. Because I was thinking, oh my God, this new 507 call, that's the exact time that Karen's backing out of the driveway. Who had his phone? Did they get a notification from Ring? And somebody was like, holy shit, Karen just backed out of the driveway. But they happened opposite each other. So she was already backing out. She had already called before Karen started backing out.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have been that. But they don't have any real answers for his phone. And other than it was in the yard and it stayed in the yard and didn't go in the house. But if you look at this other circle, it did maybe go in the house.
Actually, this time around, because he used meters instead of feet, I understood it way better and said, oh my effing God. Yeah, because I use that we use real numbers. We don't use weird American numbers. But for you, that's not that far. For me, it's, oh my God, that's because if you say 70 feet, I think, how much is that? But if you say 20 meters, I know how much 20 meters are.
But don't you think maybe the jury's going to be like, oh, how much is 20 meters?
I would never go home and make any homework if I was a juror in a case where an expert couldn't translate into American numbers, because an expert is there to make it easier for the jury to understand the evidence. And Gerda K., the last question, what should AJ do to make sure the jury forms are correct this time? Read them beforehand and raise it during the trial, the conference they will have before closing arguments, and make sure everything is. But again, this time they are prepared to handle Bev's Bevisms.
Bevsisms. I now that they know and they've heard from jurors, now they can mention it in their closing. Is she still going to only give them an hour in their closing?
I hope so.
American lawyers talk. I don't think that's enough.
Well, then they should do a better work presenting their case. I am a staunch opponent of opening and closing arguments.
Yeah.
You are to present your case. You are not there to sway the jury.
So,
because if you are a great talker but a shitty lawyer,
yeah,
you can win a case by waving. It's kind of like doing magic. Don't look at all the evidence.
Right.
Just listen to what I'm telling you.
True.
They should be allowed. In Danish court, you will get Karen Reed is charged with second-degree murder, OVI, manslaughter, and leaving the scene of a crime. First witness. That's our opening statements.
Really?
Sometimes if it's a specific case and it's a new lawyer, they'll say, we would like to do a procedure. And then they will read all of it, which is on the 29th at around this time, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And we mean that we can prove, but we don't, again, we are, I hate to say we're professionals because everyone says we're professionals, but we're not. But we do it for 4 years at a time. So we have read the charging document. We know what a assault case is.
Right.
So you'll actually get us mad by wasting our time.
Sure. I do think that it would behoove them to explain, like, you don't have to come. So, and I don't know if they'd be allowed to. I don't know if there would be an objection for it, but like where they could maybe say at the end of their closing something like, you know, you don't have to, because I think the big mix up last time was, well, we thought we had to agree on all of them before we could give any opinion, you know, so maybe they could make a comment about that. Like, you don't have to, if you all agree that something is that she's not guilty on one of them, you can mark those off. You know what I mean? But I don't know what they're allowed to say.
But that's why a respectful disagree the way the evidence comes in. Well, then present your case better. I know the state is breaking this up. The defense can just put on a good case where they say, we have the science on our side, we have physics on our side, and we have the facts on our side. Maybe spend a little more time this time instead of just getting out of there. I had a murder case and a guy who we had an ME crying in court because he had never seen anything this bad without a car involved. And still, this guy got, I think we gave him 12 years and it took us less than 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because we just don't have, that's the problem. And sorry, America, because I know you have been brought up, you have the greatest system in the world. You have too many lawyers and they like to talk. And you can see Hank being a defense lawyer, but because I said an hour. Sorry, I'm going to take 2 more seconds and ask a question. The way he has broken it up, the last time they built a case like we normally see it, we see the progression through the timeline. The way he's doing it now, do you think it'll help him that the jury will have to flip back and forth? You're a documents person. My brain just stores it and I'll access it. But someone who is very methodical must hate this.
Yeah, I want to say no. I would be annoyed by it, and you can only write so fast, right? So I know these jurors are missing stuff. I get to go back and re-listen so I can then add stuff to the spreadsheet, but they don't get to do that. And so I want to say no. I think that he could have done a progression of the timeline, like kind of like Lally did. Lally did do a good job doing that. The problem was he called too many people to do that. So like, we don't need to hear 7 people say that they came at this time, first thing in the morning, they were first ones to see him and it was snowing. There was snow on the ground and they gave him CPR. And we don't need to hear every single, the only reason he did that was to have 7 people come in and say that they heard her saying things like, could I have hit him? Is he dead? She's acting crazy. She's running around like a lunatic. She saw him and there was a bunch of snow on the ground. But however, I was reading, and I don't know how accurate they are. I was reading between Sue and Jessica's Twitter things where they're saying what the jury's doing. And can you hear him singing? In particular, the comment about the Snowbank, when that was made, that they saw one of the jurors flipping back and looking at their other thing and then like smiling and writing stuff down. So, you know, it might depend on the juror, but they seem to be remembering enough of it to where something in at least that juror's head is clicking like, wait a minute, a snowbank. I remember hearing something about tracking a cat in the snow. Yeah.
And I'm a visual thinker, so I like to use weird ways to put it into your mind, because everyone, if I say I don't know something, it'll hit you like a freight truck. You know that'll be hard instead of that's real. But when you speak in pictures like that, most people can say, "Oh, a cat! Yeah, oh, I remember when my little kitty cat ran across the pavement the other day, and that was just enough so I could see his cute little footprints." Yeah, that would stick with them all the way through, instead of that snowbank and. But
3.9 inches, and what I think is 3.9 inches, you might not think is 3.9 inches. So to say that, it's not really, we're not going to both come up with the same exact amount of snow that was there. However, one of the things that I've been curious about is so there was 3.9 inches by the time that, and the argument I just made, it applies here. So we might not be able to get an answer, but I personally don't think that 3.9 inches is going to cover a shoe. that's turned sideways. So the widest part is now turned sideways. Is 3.9 inches going to cover an entire shoe? Because Karen didn't see it. Jen didn't see it. Carrie didn't see it. The ambulance people did not see it. The first responders didn't see it. Nobody saw the shoe right there on the berm.
Now I have to find out what 3.9 inches are.
Oh, I forgot. We're not even working in the same system.
That's 9.9. So let's say 10 centimeters. It's that much snow.
So is that going to cover the shoe? A man's shoe, a man's size 11 shoe.
No, because it'll be this big and on the side. And again, they are running in and out of that place, and they want to tell you that, well, there's snow all over. And when you look for the Asian's house, you can see that it's very disturbed and kicked up. Mm-hmm. But when you see the snowblower, there is no snow.
Right.
And the thing I found funny was that a piece of plastic this wide hit for 16 days.
Yeah.
And I know it's, but again, all of these guys seems like they measure from the taint. But
how I know they're lying, like when Jen and like anybody that says, and now that we've heard from the meteorologists, like we're not just arguing now about how much, like now we know exactly how much snow was there.
Yeah.
And there was not enough snow to cover John's body plus 6 inches to where Carrie's digging his face out unless someone or several someones gathered snow from the yard and tried to pack him in and cover him with snow. Otherwise, there's no way he was covered in snow.
I totally agree. Last one. If you ask me to solely rely upon the wine moms of Canton Club in a murder trial, I would take you on a trip to partake in the Tijuana.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Brandon. He gets me. I get into, don't read Brandon's aloud. Read them before I put them up on screen. And then, he's been good. He's did a little rhyme. That's fun. And then he mentions Tijuana donkey shows.
He made you comfy. He made you feel safe.
Yeah, no safe spaces around.
He's now making a note, like he's another post-it to remember.
Oh, he's been doing this for 2 years, so he knows exactly how long it takes for me to get. Oh, Brandon has changed.
Yeah.
Nope. No, Brandon. Love you, Brandon. I promised you an hour. It's Mother's Day. You should probably get out and get a lot of chocolates, feet rubs, and praises for being a mom. So anything you want to shill before you go?
No, nothing but
You're doing a show every day.
We are doing a show every day. See, I don't advertise myself. I was going to say the only thing that I have to say is free Karen Reed, but we are watching the show. You're watching the show. If anybody wants to pop over and mean criminality, we do it live every single day. We start a little later than you guys though. So if you want to go on a delay where we can fast forward through all the boring stuff, come over there.
I normally kick over to them when
you're done. I come here before I go over there because usually she makes start like 11:30, so I get to watch most of the morning with you guys.
But great show where you can get. This is the great thing about. I love the Karen Reed community because I've never met anyone who was a total a-hole and you couldn't say, hey, you want to do something? Or, hey, I can send my viewers over there, or you can send mine over. Because I'm just thinking how miserable it must be to be on the other side, sitting there all day. And everyone remember to send some Kool-Aid to Twisted Tragedies and her 38 viewers I saw one day. Hey, we've all been there.
Yes.
Sluthie, thank you so very much for coming on and having a little chin whack, chit chat.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure because I've stolen enough of your work that
I put it there to be stolen.
Can we get a link to Sluthie's channel? It's in the description, and one of my wonderful mods, probably yes.
Oh, maybe put Teresa's, since that's basically where I go.
Oh.
I don't like to run a thing. I just like to pop in and out whenever I feel like it. So I like use your channel to do it.
Jemima, can you find criminality Y, I think is how it's spelled. You should see Kathy Daffy's. Well, she streams with Kate Peters, Plevin, and I don't know who the weirdo, Brandon, whatever his name is.
I do not know. I can't watch and won't.
Olivia, I've tried to get her on the stream for 2 years. She ghosted me. I feel like Hank. Whenever I write her, she just gives me the thumbs up.
She's very busy.
I know, but she's another one of those people you can have interesting because you're not streamers. You're not hey, let's do the show. But you have a lot of basic knowledge.
Yeah. One of the things with like people that do believe basically that Karen Reed is innocent is that everybody's sharing everybody. Like we all obviously have a lot of the same people following us and everyone will promote each other and, just go, it's really about just everybody gathering all the facts, which I prefer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to be in competition with anybody about who has the most followers, who's paying attention to whose streams. And I'd rather just put the information out there and let you all do whatever you're going to do, And
it's the same. Hey, some like the mother, some like the daughter.
Yeah.
If you like what we do, we are three rambling idiots who make fun of a lot of things. If you want deep legal analysis, you can go to Kurt, who is way more structured with the law.
Funny though too. I enjoy enough of you all that I have to watch the same thing 3, 4, 5 times a day to see what everybody else is saying. So
my email is in my channel description. It's I just changed it. It's in my description in my header. So send me an email there. Is that another thing is saying, that some likes the mother, some likes the daughter, because different strokes for different folks.
Surely
not everyone likes a tall blonde. But now, thank you all, Olivia, Lambo, Niall in the casa. And thank you for your help to Richard Allen as well.
Yeah, not enough.
That's a case I got in way too late. You should have met. Mo. She lives there, and she was really into it. So
it's very sad. It's a very sad, helpless situation. So
yeah, redhead. That was a personal attack. But everyone, I took you away from your Mama's Day, whatever you're getting.
Festivities.
Yeah. If you're getting chocolate, look at him and say, that's not enough. If he's giving you a back rub, say, my feet hurt as well. And if you say, but I've given you everything I can, he said, well, I gave you your children. Do you know how hard that was? You don't love me. And you will get him to go to 7-Eleven and pick up more chocolate.
Or Dunkin' Donuts to get you donuts and iced coffee that they can leave in your car in the freezing cold.
I bet you she's such an asshole, so she brought regular coffee and just left it.
I bet you she did. The hot coffee and just left it in the car.
Everyone, come back tomorrow. I will be back with Mo and Valhalla, and Sluthie will be on criminality. Criminality. Yeah, but hey, I have a slight accent. I have to figure out what it is.
But you can't find her if you just look for Teresa.
The link has been shared a few times in chat. Please go give her a little bit of love as well, and see you down the road, and have a nice Sunday.
You too.
10 misreads.
Yes.
10
Get cut and dry. Pretty simple. Just pin it on the girl, right? Pretty simple. Just pin it on the girl, right?
Objection.
Pretty simple. Just pin it on the girl.